All right, this is recording 821. The name of this recording is Listen Next 821. It's a part of my podcast series, Speaking to the CIA. You can find me at ChristinaStation918.com, or you can find me at speakingtothecia.com. Both of those are my website, speakingtothecia.com. I made so you can get to my website easier because people can't remember how to spell my name. Anyway, you can also find my podcast on Podbean. I link my latest episodes every week with the overview on my website, ChristinaStation918.com. So I want to continue. So it's been a couple days since I've had these notes, and so I'm like, I can't remember what brought me to the point of my starting point of these notes. So it's probably a connection from my last podcast. So it's more links, and then I continue to decode more, and I decoded throughout the week this week. So here we go. So, okay. So she also used, I decoded several times her trying to control, or her infiltration, her trying to manipulate the Nike industry. Okay, so, and I decoded a lot of different things that she did with it. Some of it, like, this is when I lived in Slidell. It really broke people's hearts. They were pissed and heartbroken and mad. Like, and this is before I figured out that it was Gene Roberts and her Manson occult doing this. I'm sorry, she's controlling my speech. I think she's trying to manipulate my speech to give herself some sort of pass. Let me continue with my decode. Let me ignore how she just manipulated my speech. Anyway, people were really, 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 really upset. In fact, they were so upset the next day. Everybody was wearing Air Jordans. Like, everywhere around me, everybody was wearing them. They were so mad and so upset. Like, can we not have one thing that we love, that we cherish, that we treasure? Can we not have one thing without whoever's doing this annihilating it? Like, because they see me decoding her invasion of Nike and her assaulting Nike and then assaulting Michael Jordan. And they're like, oh my God, like, they're so upset. And then, so they released their anger by everybody wore Air Jordans, and then people like just like quietly like vented their anger and their rage. And then after that, they said, we have the knowledge, we know what she did, we're keeping everything as is. Of course, we love Air Jordans. We don't have to associate her trying to stab at our favorite things, because she knows you're going to figure it out because it affects your favorite things. And what she's after is my favorite things, because she wants to use me as a machine gun to hurt other people because I figure it out. And then she's there to, soothe and, you know what I'm saying? So people, African Americans are wise to it. Now, here in Tulsa, hopefully African Americans are pretty much wise to it at this point. But it's a different like ball game here, because Gene Roberts and her Manson occult constantly pretends to be black and brown, and I include Native American in that. I'm saying if you're not white. She's a white supremacist. She's the leader of Charles Manson, and she continually lies to people and spreads lies and continually tries to con people. So I think they're wise to it. They may or may not be at this point. I think they're becoming more wise to it. Like, they realize that they, like, fool me once, like, and then after that, they're like, you can't fool them again. And you won't know that that they know that she fooled them. But you will pay, Gene. Anyway, so back to the Nike Air Jordan, somebody was just pointing out to me with this. They said, hey, she did this too when she was tearing up the Nike Air Jordan. She used The Boy Who Could Fly. Okay, so let me tell you what The Boy Who Could Fly, it's already in my podcast. So, remember when I told you when I was little and I lived in Globe and I was in grade school, and I lived on East and Cottonwood, at the top of East and Cottonwood, 306 East Street. Okay. And I used to try to jump from my sun deck over onto the roof, where I'd think about jumping from my sun deck over onto the roof of Mrs. Keegan's, who lived next door, thinking I could fly. I thought I could fly. That's the reason why I would jump off the wall. I thought I could fly. I was always wanting to fly. I would have dreams, and they were Delta Wave dreams that were put in my head, and I would fly in my dreams at night. I would literally fly. So you have all my podcasts on all of that. So anyway, so I literally thought I could fly, so I would, like, there's like this space between the sun deck and then the top of Mrs. Keegan's garage. Like, and I would always be measuring the distance in the space, and I'm like, I bet I could jump that. I bet I could jump that. I bet I could do it. I bet I could do it. Like, I really, really thought that I could jump across that and make it to the other side. So anyway, later on, when I moved to Chicago, on my way there, like I told you before, I think it was Flight TWA, but I can't remember now. I decoded all my flights and I've decoded all my flights and everything. I'm sorry. I'm literally trying to talk right now, and I've got invasion in my brain of Gene Roberts, people desperately pretending to be me. And then I've got people controlling my speech, desperately pretending to be me. And I'm just literally on here making my podcast. And I'm being totally impaled like that in my brain. I mean, you guys are freaking turned in. Put your little freaking stolen AI magic lie wand away and give it up. You're turned in. Anyway, so when I got to Chicago in 86, I was on a flight, and they pulled down the projector and they played a movie on the airplane. And the movie that they played was called The Boy Who Could Fly. And I was like, and there was no sound. I remember not having any sound, like they offered you headphones, but I didn't take the headphones. I don't remember what the deal was. But anyway, I thought it was weird because that's the only time I've ever been on an airplane where somebody pulled down a movie projection screen, and aired like a movie. Like the all rows of seats were watching this. The projection screen was hanging from, like, I don't know what it was. It was like right in front of me, like not in my seat, but I mean like up high. She's trying to make you say this. I don't care about your clip and stitch world. You guys lie to people, you're caught. So anyway, it was projected from the ceiling, from the plane ceiling somehow. So anyway, so The Boy Who Could Fly, so then that goes to Michael Jordan, okay? So then that connects to the Nike Air Jordans. And then I met, when I was going to high school there, one of my good friends there, I freaking loved the heck out of him. Oh my God, I loved him. His name was Michael. And he had like the biggest smile, like, oh my God. He was just like, I loved him. And we always joked around and messed around together. He always made me smile all the time. No matter what, like I always knew I was going to meet up with Michael, and he was just going to make my day. So Anyway, so then that goes to my friend Michael. He's the one I told you about, where he would joke around with me. Like, he would ask me like weird questions about what it's like out west, and he was crazy. I freaking loved him. But anyway, so then that goes to also the shoe bomber. And you know, Gene Roberts, this all goes to Gene Roberts during the World Trade Center attack. And Gene Roberts telling her lies in multiple levels here, multiple kinds of lies, all lies, covering up a whole bunch of her crime that she committed, including the shoe bomber attack. So this is where this also goes to Air Marshal, and Air Marshal is, I think, where I'm picking up from my last podcast. I can't remember what brought me to Air Marshal. Maybe it was Penny Marshall. I think it was Penny Marshall again. Penny Marshall played Laverne. Even that, Laverne, and then Laverne, her name has a river in it, and then the Jordan River. Okay, so anyway, so let me continue in here. So also in Air Marshal is... So Air Marshal, and then also Crystal Meth is in My Name, Christina Marie. And also Crystalina. Now, I decoded Gene stalking my first husband, his first love. I wasn't his first love. His first love's name was Crystalina. And I decoded Gene Roberts stalking the heck out of her too. Her and her sister. So anyway, what I want to point more out about Crystalina is there's Stalin in it. And then I'm pointing out the Lynn, L-I-N. So she's stalking me and Mario. At this point, she stalked us all of our lives from before we were born. But at this point in time, I'm talking about her stalking us in high school. And then also his best friend, which we're all in the same group of friends, his best friend's name was Ryan, and one of his first loves, her name was Crystal. So it's another Crystal. She's very obsessed with Crystal, and she's very obsessed with Christina, my name. Okay, so all forms of the name. So I used to think, because I used to joke around with my first husband, I'm like, you got a thing for Christinas, don't you? Like, everything is a Christina, and it's just the way it's working out for him. Like, he just thought it was cute, like, funny, like, and I thought it was cute and funny. And then I'm like, no, that's Gene Roberts stalking us all of our lives. That's some scary ass shit. She has been stalking us all of our lives. So anyway, and all of our friends and all of our families. So inside this is also, and you know, she planned, you guys know all the way back from when I was in grade school in the 70s, she used Serial to do it. When she also used the Iran hostage crisis. But also, well, even before I moved to 306 East Street, I lived on the 1st Street on 11th or 12th and Globe. She pre-planned in the future for me to grow up and to get addicted to drugs. Like, she was planning it all out. She used like Frosted Flakes, Tony the Tiger. She used Sugar Smash. Like, she pre-planned all this, like doing all this. And I decoded the heck out of all this. But anyway, so Waterford Crystal is in this. So, you know, all of this also goes to her preparing to do the World Trade Center attack. So, crystals are also associated with Sedona. Okay? So, Sedona is supposed to be like the New Age epicenter of, I think, the world. Okay? And I'm talking about Sedona, Arizona, and crystals are associated with Sedona, Arizona, and crystals I had somebody really special to me in my life. I call him my mentor. He gave me crystals from Sedona. He also got me listening to Kitaro. And when I was in Slidell, I was listening to Kitaro to see what was in Kitaro. And there was also another New Age singer. And sure enough, a couple days later, Gene Roberts commits a terror attack, and she's using Kitaro's name. I was freaking out. And then she starts trying to tear up Kitaro's music. And then she starts claiming she's Kitaro. Gene Roberts, my dad's freaking ex-girlfriend. So anyway, so he gave me a crystal that he got in Sedona, but I since decoded that. That goes to the PRISM program. He like leaked information to me. It's crazy. Like I go back in time and I pay attention to everything he ever told me. I pay attention to everything he's ever given me. And he's telling me the woman that is stalking you isn't your family. You're going to find out later your anger or your hurt. I'm sorry, she's messing with my mouth. Your anger or your hurt at your family is misplaced because they don't understand, because she's been she's been stalking them too. Gene Roberts. And she will go to jail for it. And she has been committing terrorism, and she plans to commit terrorism. And you are meant for a higher plane. And this is the sad thing is, he gave me a book called Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and I didn't want to read it. I was like, I'm not reading this. And I didn't read it until I moved to Texas. After I moved from Slidell. Before I moved to Slidell, when I was in Texas, to get clean in Slidell, I read it before I moved to Slidell, and there's all kinds of stuff in it, but it's really, the book is precious to me now. Like, if I would have read it back then, I wouldn't have understood what he was saying. It was meant for me as an adult to look back. And then I know everything. But anyway, so what's really sad is higher plane. So he's like telling me 2 and 1. She's going to do the World Trade Center attack. She's going to try to blame it on you. She abused you. She's stalking you. She's lying about you. She will be executed for it. And you have always got to, like, you've got to do your best because you are meant for a higher plane. He's trying to tell me that I am not like these little dummies that are, like, running around, like, up Jean's butt, helping her cover her butt. Like, I'm not... And I'm also not mainstream. Like, my world is mainstream, but I'm not mainstream. And I don't mean Gene Roberts' perverted way. I'm not Gene. I'm not a pervert. I'm not any of Gene. I'm a regular-ass person. I'm meant for a higher plane is what he was telling me. I mean, I freaking loved him. I was able to decode so much. So, anyway... Okay, so the crystal goes to the PRISM program. So he's leaking the PRISM program. So here's more. So in Sedona, she's using SAD in Sedona. And then also crystals. I was processing this the other night, decoding on my phone. And I was thinking about all of this with all the crystal this and crystal that. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, crystals are inside Folger's coffee. There's something called Folger's crystals. And so I'm like, that expletive. And so, because she killed Annie Folger, Gene Roberts did. So I'm like, that freaking expletive. So I'm like, let me go read about Folger's crystals. So Folger's crystals came out in 1975. Okay? So let me tell you what more this goes to. So this goes to Attica. Now, Attica is a prison in New York. Attica is where George Lutz went to prison. George Lutz was the man accused of murdering his family, and it's a true story. And then they made a horror. They wrote a book about it, and then horror movies are out about it, and it's called the Amityville Horror. Okay, he went to prison in Attica. So Attica, I decoded all of Amityville Horror. I decoded because she used Amityville Horror, like I told you, as a theme in my childhood. She was trying to terrorize me with Amityville Horror. And I do have trauma, but I removed the trauma of the Amityville Horror. Like, she used it to haunt me, and she, like she uses Alice in Wonderland as a theme in my childhood and all my life. She used Amityville Horror. So, I was able to remove, like, the trauma of the Amityville Horror from my childhood, but it's still there because because I don't have any trauma. Even though you can't, like, she still stabs me with, like, I don't know, like, she doesn't stab you, like, she makes you think about when you're a child, and then or going back in time, and then making you feel that trauma, and then realizing that she's stalking you, and then she stacks it all on. She does stab you, though. She stabs Christina with her own injects of herself, and she stabs Christina with lies. Please stop talking through me, because you who are doing that through me, you lie. Because you pretend that I am not myself, and you go tell somebody else that they're me. You guys all try to steal my identity and my life. So anyway, okay, so that also goes to, because she iced George Lutz, and he went to prison in Attica. In fact, when I was going to Buffalo State College, when I lived in Buffalo, I had a criminal justice class, and I remember that one day she was talking. She was fascinating. My professor, I was like, who'd ever think I would like criminal justice? But that class kicked ass. Sorry, my speech is being controlled. She was fascinating. That class was fascinating. So was political science. Fascinating. I was like, oh my God. Anyway, so she was talking about Attica. She was talking all about Attica one day. One of the days I went to class. It was a lecture, and she was talking all about Attica prison. And then she said that he was about to get out soon. And I was like, oh my God, I'm sitting there like, because I'm telling you, I've got like real trauma around Amityville Horror. And then I grow up, and then I get to slide down and start decoding my life, and there's Amityville Horror ciphers all throughout my life and everything and everywhere else. And I'm like, my God, Lucifer is freaking stalking me. Who is doing that? And I find out it's Gene Roberts, my dad's ex-girlfriend. But anyway, she stalked the crap out of all of us. So anyway, so I'm sitting in class, and she's talking about how he's getting out of prison, and I'm going, oh my God, like, oh my God. And I knew that went to the day that we went on a trip over to, we went to some train station, Attica train station. And I made like a little iMovie of it. We went to like Attica, and that was all an ice event. Gene iced us there too. And then that's supposed to be Crazy Train and everything else. Okay, so all right, so that also goes to quartz crystals. That goes to time. Okay, so it is future signs of terrorism. So this is going all the way back from the 70s. So you want to note the AH and the AF. Okay, so the AH and the AF, Annie Folger. Note the 28, and then that goes to Harvard, and then that goes to my 6th grade year at Hartford Elementary, and then it goes to, which is 1982. Okay, so, and then the 82, note the 28, and then J.A. Folger. And then note, when I lived in Globe, when my mom and stepdad lived in Globe, A.J. Bayless. If you take 1976 minus 1975, that's 1. If you take 1975 minus 1971, that's 4. If you take 1975 minus 1969, that's 6V, that's 16. That's 6-1N. So that's less than 1. I was 2 months old. So she's bragging about assaulting me when I was 2 months old with a pencil. And then also linked to this, she's also a -1. You flip it sideways. She's saying she's going to sacrifice me. Even that, she freaking did that too with the -1. She's the little minus sign is the pencil, and she's standing there, and she's ooh, and look, she's using the freaking one. Yeah, the one, the top of the one goes forward. She's using like a freaking bird beak thing. Because she's going to try to blame the Illuminati. No, it wasn't. It was your goddamn Manson occult. So anyway, Jean Roberts assaulted me when I was 2 months old with a pencil. So she even used that. So anyway, so she's saying she's going to sacrifice me. So then also in this is 1979. And then that links to her icing my dad and myself and Beth in 1986 to go fly kites. And that also goes to Jean Roberts' Mary Poppins theme. Okay, so she calls herself Mary Poppins. So anyway, I mean, she's just stalking the heck out of all of us. So anyway, that also goes to preschool or daycare, my blocks, the rectangle, and then the two Pagarathams, the A2, B2, C2s. Then also goes to my incisors, which she uses a theme in doing the World Trade Center attack. Then also Blockhead is in it. And then Y is in it. And 21 or 12 is in it. And then also Chinese Star is in it. And then that goes to me in grade school in 3rd grade. I used to make Chinese stars. And then they said also Chinese star, you have a star on your knee, wounded knee, also Chinese star. And then when I was decoding that, they were showing me that, Jean started pointing out the year 1971 when I was born, which is the year of the pig. They don't mean it Jean's way. Jean is the leader of Charles Manson. And she thinks that China's just going to just love on her forever. No, they're not. Jean is not getting away with any of this. So anyway, so in grade school, she wants to basically, she's like, look, I have this baby I've abused. I'm going to sell it and make money off it and cut it up in all pieces and lie about it and rape it to death and assault its parents and follow it around and its friends. She even refers to me as it. Refer to it all its life and all its friends and all its family, and I'll just assault the hell out of all of them. It's just trash. That's Jean's mentality. And she is like that with entire families. As you guys know, I told you the families that she wants to kill. No, I do not count your little team of friends over there, which you would all be those kind of people because you guys have all been helping her. I don't have anything to say to any of you. So even her trying to raise my voice through me and trying to get me to talk to her and her sickos, insane. Jean is deranged. IDGAF, Jean, your people, your occult, your KKK, your shit, all of you. So anyway, so grade school, 3rd grade, and then 3 is E, and then East, and then also the Hollywood Theater. She's just trying to, I don't care. Then also the Chinese Man Theater, and then Globe, AT Globe, and then also she used Statler Brothers in there, and then also she's referring to my last name in state part of Seisha is in Statler Brothers, and also sale code Stat. She's also probably referring to Lehman Brothers. There's probably all kinds of stuff in here. So anyway, there's a whole bunch of more, but I'm going to stop here because, and I apologize, it's not me doing that with my speech. You got to understand, JeanRobertsAnHerocult, control my speech, my voice, my inflection. I try to get out to you exactly her demonism, her terrorism, her child trafficking, her lying, and what she does is she tries to control every facet of my life to try to cover it up and to keep it freaking going. So I don't give a... See, there she goes. She added, keep it going, and that's where my sentence ends. So whoever's talking after that, that's somebody else you guys need to arrest, obviously. Hopefully you know that. Oh, see... Okay, so they just have Michael Myers, but they weren't being mean. Now Jean's pulling my face now. They weren't being mean. Jean loves it when I'm attacked. I think she has, like, Christina just... Okay, so they have Michael Myers, Dr. Evil, tell me go zip, zip, zip. They're trying to help me get control of my mouth because Jean is trying to control it. So, and Jean does find it erotic, if you will, to watch me being pummeled to death over crimes that she's committed. What she doesn't know is that I have a podcast that reaches everybody everywhere. And if you choose to help Jean, that's your lane. Anyway, so I don't, and again, she keeps talking through me. Just end your podcast. Ignore her. People desperately trying to talk through you and just end your podcast. Okay, so that's what I'm doing.